We have some breaking news coming in. The special CBI court has spoken. Actor Sooraj Pancholi has been acquitted in the abetment to suicide case. That is the only information we have right now. We are still waiting for more details of this judgment to emerge. We'll have to wait and see what reasoning the court has mentioned. But AP Singh, your first thoughts. We were talking just minutes ago about how it is not easy in most cases to prove abetment to suicide unless there is evidence that there was proximate incitement or instigation. In this case, the court has ruled that Sooraj Pancholi is innocent.
So that is, I think, exactly what I was trying to say. Also, that there was nothing proximate. Even those messages that this Pancholi has sent Jiah Khan does not say go and commit suicide, go and die. It is just saying I'm disappointed with you, I'm upset with you, all those kind of things. But it never says that you should kill yourself or you should just disappear. And so, and even her suicide note does not say that he was instigating her to commit suicide. She is only saying that she's upset about so many things about him. So now that is her mental frame. It is not that, and there has to be proximity. So the only proximity is those messages which have taken place within an hour or within half an hour of the suicide happening. So it was to the judge to decide whether the suicide note and those messages constitute enough to make a case of abetment of suicide. And obviously, as you just pointed out, the judge has not agreed and he has acquitted Mr. Pancholi.
Yes. So, of course, sir, we will have to wait to go through the detailed judgment, which is probably going to be posted on the website a little later in the day, to understand the reasons that the judge has cited for this judgment. But the big judgment that was awaited is out. The court has ruled Sooraj Pancholi is not guilty. Let me go across to Prithviraj Sikka. Prithviraj Sikka, your first thoughts on this big judgment? Not guilty, says the court.
I am just telling you that I have already told you that there is no proximity, there is no direct instigation. Only her letter has been mentioned that I am upset. So upset does not mean that you will commit suicide. So I am just giving example. Around 15 years back, I have won a case against a general manager of a company. He was out of station. His wife called him that I am upset. You are not giving me this thing. He said that whenever I will come back, I will provide you. So she said, whatever I made suicided, he shut down his phone. So thereafter she suicided. So and they were acquitted. There was no proximity. So that I am telling you that there is no proximity, there is no instigation, there is no such fight at that moment. So how it can be abatement? That is the main thing. Or even witnesses are against Jiah Khan.
Okay, sir, if you don't mind, I will come back to you in a moment because I'm told Mr. AP Singh has to leave. So I want to bring him into the conversation at this point. Mr. Singh, again, sir, for the benefit of our viewers, because you understand these issues better than most others as former director of the CBI, if you could just explain, sir, usually what kind of evidence do you need to prove that somebody has been party to another person's suicide? And in this case, what do you think are the main factors that went against the petitioner and in favor of Sooraj Pancholi?
Well, as far as the main factors are concerned, I think I explained that to you, that those messages which have taken place just before she committed suicide, at no stage are they saying that go and kill yourself. They are just a bit abusive, but these happen in any relationship. So if you go and commit suicide, you can't blame the other person that, he... Now, as far as the other point that you raised was, there has to be proximity. If that person had been in that house, in that room, and she committed suicide in front of him or, immediately after he left, that would be something different. That proximity would have been there. but that is not there. So she is feeling, she is very upset. She feels that it is because of Mr. Pancholi that she's committing suicide. But it is not necessary that Mr. Pancholi has instigated her or has encouraged her to commit suicide. So nowhere in these letters or anywhere is it has this point come out. So there has to be an intent. There also has to be an intention. There has to be an intention of the accused, which is Mr. Pancholi, to make her commit suicide. He has to try and instigate. So that instigation, I don't think has taken place as far as whatever I've read about the case.
Sir, if I could just share with you and the viewers a few more details that are emerging from the court. The judge has said, due to paucity of evidence, this court cannot hold you, that is Sooraj Pancholi, guilty. Hence, he is acquitted. This is what Judge A.S. Saeed of the Special CBI Court in Mumbai has said. The judge, as is of course usually the case, has informed the complainant, Rabia Khan, that's Jiah Khan's mother, and the lawyer, that they can appeal, they have the right to appeal against this judgment in a higher court. Sir, Mr. A.P. Singh, if I could come back to you at this point, sir, you know how it is. This is, of course, a very sensitive matter. Here's a grieving mother who holds Sooraj Pancholi responsible for her young daughter's untimely and very tragic death at the age of 24 or 25. Perhaps it would be safe to assume that this is not the end of her legal battle here. We are going to, in all likelihood, see this matter reach the higher courts.
I absolutely agree with you. They will definitely appeal. And also, there is no doubt about the fact that she has committed suicide because of this Mr. Pancholi. But whether he instigated her or not, that is the question. Because her note, whatever conversations, it's obvious that he is the person, and she is very upset with him. She is very despondent, and she has committed suicide. But as I said, there has to be instigation. Whether he has instigated her to do it, or it is her, her thoughts, her thought process. She's feeling very hurt, very upset, and she's committed suicide. So I think it is more on the part of Jiah Khan. And obviously Mr. Pancholi is ultimately responsible, but has he instigated her? Has he deliberately encouraged her to commit suicide? I don't think so, and that is what the judges say. And as far as appeal is concerned, definitely I'm sure they will appeal to the guy.
Sir, here is where I have another question for you, sir, before we let you go.
Sure.
Talking about filing of an appeal. Sir, is it incumbent on the investigating agency, in this case the CBI, that in a sense represents the state, to go ahead and challenge this verdict in a higher court if it believes that it has a strong enough case? Or, does the complainant Rabia Khan, Jiah Khan's mother, have the legal right to knock on the doors of a higher court even in her individual capacity? Where does the law stand on this? So if you could explain that to our viewers.
See, actually, the appeal should be filed by the CBI. The CBI cannot file an appeal on its own. It goes to the law ministry. The law ministry will approve of it, and then they can file an appeal. And normally in cases like this, they would file an appeal because they filed a charge sheet. Jiah Khan I think she's probably the complainant in this case. So she has every right to go to the High Court as well.
Rabia Khan, yes. So you're saying that, the CBI will need clearance from the law ministry, but Rabia Khan has every right to file an appeal in the High Court. EP Singh,
If she is the complainant of this case.
Yes, she is, sir. She indeed is. But thank you so much, AP Singh, for joining us and sharing your perspective with us on this big story. Before I go back to Prithviraj Sikka, Kabir, your thoughts on this big verdict and what our other experts have said, the court has held in its wisdom that there is simply no evidence to suggest that Sooraj Pancholi was actually guilty of abetment to suicide. You know, Mr. Singh makes an important distinction. He says even if we assume that Jiah Khan killed herself because of him and this
wasn't due to him.
Right, because she was in a toxic relationship with the man. But does that mean that he necessarily instigated her to kill herself? That is a very important, even if a fine distinction in law.
Absolutely. And you know, the premise of the question that you've set forth when we're trying to lay bare the facts of the case in front of the viewers and, you know, really establishing the debate and the discussion on Jiah Khan and the verdict is that abetment of suicide is difficult to prove in court. Even the Supreme Court has earlier said that, you know, there needs to be criminal intent. And of course, AP Singh and all the points that he's made, how it's difficult to, you know, really prove abetment of suicide in, you know, inside the court of law. Direct act needs to be there, proximity, there needs to be instigation, there needs to be a criminal intent. Now, all of these things, the Supreme Court has noted that are a must to really prove abetment of suicide. Clearly, like we were talking about it before as well, all the 22 witnesses, none of those testimonies were really, you know, evidence enough to suggest that, you know, Sooraj Pancholi did in fact instigate her to take that extreme step. But considering I'm not on the chair that you're sitting on right now, Neha, I'm going to put forth my public opinion here as well. I'm really not surprised. And I'm not putting it out there, you know, to say that there was financial you know, high-handedness or, you know, the judicial system colluding with the top-notch celebrities going around. But certainly, and you'll see the social media furor in a couple of minutes from now. Even as I speak, the entire, you know, breaking news that we tweeted out, we've got people commenting on it as well. The judge says, A.S. Syed says that due to paucity of evidence, this court can't hold Sooraj Pancholi guilty, hence he is acquitted. Now, people are saying the judiciary is blind, it's really sad, there is power of money, memes doing the round saying, paisa hai to yaar kuch bhi ho sakta hai.
Are you telling me, Kabir, that in just the last 2 or 3 minutes since this verdict came out,
absolute
there's
furor
already
on social media,
a flood of these
absolutely
angry tweets?
People
Please
are
take
going
us
on
through
to the extent to say that, you know, this is another failure of the CBI. On the other hand, I'm not saying it's completely one-sided. There are people who are coming out in support of Sooraj Pancholi as well. People are saying that, you know, people take toxic relationships, you know, a step, a notch, a little too far ahead. And, you know, by the time they're in that particular space, all alone, depressed, you know, thinking about taking that extreme step, it's just a little too late by then for anybody else to come and intervene. I was speaking to, you know, Nasir Abdullah earlier in the morning, and before he you know, put forth his opinion about what he thought about the case and the verdict, he said, I have a message to all the boys and girls out there to not really, you know, to not take all of these relationships so seriously. Your life is worth so much more than somebody else's. To end or, you know, take your own life, dying by suicide, is something that is certainly very sad. And he put forth that message for all the boys and girls out there who think they're in toxic relationships. There is somebody that you can always talk to, and one should always look for somebody else to help.